On this week's episode of The Pulse, Sacred Heart is on the road to becoming more inclusive.
Get a look into the Connecticut Rescue with puppies on the big screen.
Find out about the Film and TV Master of Art program's recent trip to Utah.
And get a behind-the-scenes look at the Theater Arts program's newest musical.
From Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is The Pulse.
I'm Victor DiPiero.
And I'm Molly Bruton. These stories and more on Sacred Heart's very own monthly news show.
You're watching The Pulse. This past October, Sacred Heart welcomed a new manager of LGBTQ+ affairs to the Office of Inclusive Excellence. Senior producer Brendan Williams has a story on how Kyle Humphreys is continuing to build an inclusive environment here at SHU.
Kyle Humphreys is hoping to make a difference at Sacred Heart as the first manager of LGBTQ+ affairs, coming to the university from a former job in Albany, New York. As the first person to take on the role, Kyle had some initial reservations about joining the Catholic University.
At the time, I was under the impression that someone like me wouldn't be welcome there. It wasn't something Sacred Heart put out specifically, but it was the louder majority of people who, I guess, to put it bluntly, have a lot of violent rhetoric against people like me who think that I should be dead or not in these positions, or that I seek to harm people by holding these kinds of positions.
While Kyle was warmly welcomed by many, the appointment of a manager of LGBTQ+ affairs stirred some controversy online.
Catholic identity, part of the Sacred Heart, and the Catholic intellectual tradition suggests that we care for and love the whole person. And with the recognition that many of our students, but also faculty, staff, alums, community partners, identify with the LGBTQ+ community, it became apparent that we needed a dedicated function and structure to support the community.
So for the Sacred Heart to open this position and welcome an openly queer person and a transgender person into this role, I think speaks a lot to the desire for progress, the desire to establish this climate like, hey, like there is some part of my role that is symbolic. It really does send a message to students, faculty, staff, and the greater Catholic community and even greater education community that this is the standard now. We should be making sure that all people are heard in these conversations we're having.
Kyle emphasizes the importance of collective support, encouraging students not to go it alone.
For us to change this CAMIT culture and climate, to be more welcoming and fostering of a healthy community, we need people to speak up and let us know when we can step it, because you don't have to go it alone. There's no reason to go it alone when we have these resources and staff to help support you.
That support also extends to people who are not a part of the LGBTQ+ community by way of education and, again, understanding healthy ways to engage with people who are different in terms of the way they identify their gender and how they're still a part of this community, even with those identities, not despite of, but because of. And I think our Catholic identity as an institution is the reason why we should have that type of position and support.
As Sacred Heart continues to grow, Kyle Humphreys hopes to be a symbol of change, guiding the community towards acceptance.
I hope to continue to bring people of faith into these conversations and bridge that divide.
From Fairfield, I'm Brendan Williams, The Pulse.
Kyle Humphreys isn't the only one making a difference for students at SHU. Former Sacred Heart Athletic Director Donald Cook continuously gives back to the Sacred Heart community through his son's legacy. The Connecticut Challenge Christopher Cook Endowed Scholarship is given to Sacred Heart students that are cancer survivors or are currently battling cancer. Don is enjoying his retirement in Florida, but took time to talk to senior producer Molly Jacob about the scholarship and why his name will live on in Connecticut forever.
Christopher Cook, son of Don Cook, lost his long battle to cancer in 2014 at 48 years old. He was a proud member of the Connecticut Challenge nonprofit organization that is dedicated to helping almost 17 million cancer survivors in Connecticut. When Chris passed, Don knew it was important for his memory to stay connected with the community. I had the chance to learn more from Don about the impactful relationship between a father and a son. Well, Don, it's been a little over 10 years since you've retired as one of our athletic directors at Sacred Heart University, yet you're still having such an impact on current students enrolled, such as myself, through the Connecticut Challenge Christopher Cook Endowed Scholarship. How are you hoping to leave a mark through Chris's memory?
Well, this all began, it's interesting, just to give you a little background, Molly. I remember, oh gosh, it was just shortly before Chris got very sick that he attended a lecture by Mark Herzlich, who is a former Boston College football player, who was just in the midst of recovering from brain surgery. And Chris was so moved by that. And he came home and he said to me, Dad, gee, maybe I ought to try to get more involved in the Connecticut Challenge. And he met up with Jeff Keith, who was the CEO and president. And Jeff happened to be an old friend of mine, although I was not aware that he was the CEO of this extraordinary program. In any event, Jeff filled me in on the opportunity that it might be for Sacred Heart University students that are cancer survivors to benefit from the work that he's been doing, and that is raising money for scholarships. So I came back to the school and I broached the subject with a few of my colleagues at the university, and they were very, very supportive. They said, let's go for it. So what we did was we began raising some money to see what we could do to get the scholarship endowed. And the next thing I know, we raised over $30,000. We've already awarded 43 scholarships. It was a very positive experience. Christopher felt that, gee, Dad, being involved with this, it gave him a sense of connection with the people that were going through the same thing he was going through.
Going through a sickness can be very hard, but the number one thing that can help you survive is support, which you're doing every single day in our Connecticut community. Fairfield University announced that they're going to rename the Alumni Diamond after you and your son. They're going to name it the Don and Chris Cook Field. What does that mean to you and your family?
I had no idea this was coming. It means everything to me that we are thought of in the way that they deemed. What was so touching is that they remembered who I was and who my son was. I was over the moon with gratitude because I know it has perpetuity. It's the name's gonna be on that baseball diamond forever, which is hard to comprehend.
Chris was a proud father, a proud son, a proud teammate, and that is certainly going to be remembered every single time a player steps onto the Don and Chris Cook Field coming up. But we know you're retired in Florida right now. We're just talking 85 degrees and sunny. We're really jealous up here in Connecticut. But how has retirement allowed you to kind of sit back and reflect on the impact that you've left on the Connecticut community?
Well, when you're going through it all, Molly, you don't think much about it. You just go forward one step at a time and put one foot in front of the other. But now being retired and have a chance to reminisce, I'm overwhelmed with wonderful memories. I had a great experience at Sacred Heart. You guys were very good friends and colleagues, and they were so supportive when Chris was sick. He was not only my son, he was my best friend because he had grown in maturity to a vice president level with his company. He was a wonderful father and husband, and I pray to him every day, and I'm very grateful for the time that we did have together.
And we are very grateful for you, Don. I'm grateful because people like you encourage me to chase my dreams. Just by you giving me a phone call over winter break and introducing yourself and encouraging me in my career helps me get through my health issues and just remember that this life is so precious. And the only person that's stopping you is yourself. So if you have a dream, chase it. And you taught me that through the Connecticut Challenge Christopher Cook Endowed Scholarship. So thank you so much.
That's very well put.
If you or someone you know is interested in donating or applying for the scholarship, visit the Sacred Heart website and type in the search bar Connecticut Challenge Chris Cook Scholarship. Reporting for The Pulse, this is Molly Jacob, Fairfield, Connecticut.
The university suffered immense loss over winter break. 28-year-old Mateo Gaviria passed away in a fatal car accident on Route 15 on December 23rd. Gaviria was a SHU graduate who was an audiovisual technician in the IT department. Prior to SHU, he was in the United States Marine Corps as a tactical air defense controller. On January 31st, Sacred Heart held a memorial service for Gaviria in the Chapel of the Holy Spirit and online. As we remember Mateo Gaviria, we pray for the comfort and healing of his family and friends.
And when you want to come back, remember that here is your mom to heal all your wounds, to listen to your adventures, to laugh alongside of you, and to repeatedly tell you how much I love you.
We also remember 2 graduate students who tragically passed away. Senior producer Isabella Gatos has the story of the memorial service to honor the life of these 2 young men.
22-year-old Gatu Dinesh and 21-year-old Sai Nikesh Rakoti were found dead in their Hartford apartment on Sunday, January 14th. The cause of death, according to Hartford police, appeared to be carbon monoxide poisoning with an overuse of heaters. The students landed in the U.S. on December 28th to pursue their master's in the computer science program. Just 10 days after their death on a rainy day, Sacred Heart's West Building held an in-person and remote service in the University Commons. The community came together in loving memory of the 2 men. Jean Murrow, Assistant Director of Choral Programs, played prelude piano music in a dimmed room as students, faculty, and staff took their seats. Executive Director of Mission Integration Matthew Shields began the ceremony offering silence, light, and reflection in consolation. Graduate students also shared their eulogies.
I request everyone to be very careful and take precautions so that we come across such situations.
Hindu chaplain Sirish Govardhan recited a traditional Hindu prayer. Director of Graduate Life Rob Gilmore closed the service reminding us of how we connect in times of need.
Pioneer. But for wherever we are and wherever we're going, we are now tied to continue their legacy, to continue their experience, to help others, not only today, but each day following.
Gilmore went on to encourage us to go forth with our lives and remember to live out the dream of being a pioneer. For The Pulse, I'm Isabella Gatos, Fairfield, Connecticut.
The pursuit of truth and knowledge.
Recognition of dignity and worth of every human being.
Promotion of the common good of society.
We're always evolving. Your passions should always change, right? Not to say that you should throw away your old passion. You know, they root you, they make you who you are. If I ever want to progress in life, I know that I have to learn new things, be understanding of different cultures, different backgrounds, different interests.
The lessons I learn at Sacred Heart can help me make a meaningful impact that it will lead me to do work that is good for every single person in the world.
I'm drawn to writing socially impactful pieces because theater, it speaks to broad audiences. They can learn from the piece, or they might sit there and say, I've been through that. Even if it's just one person, I feel like then it was a successful piece.
You are not only going to learn from other students, but you're going to learn about yourself.
I was always asking why, and I saw that with molecular and cellular biology, you go to the smallest detail of that why. In my future path, like, I hope to answer more of those whys.
Welcome back to The Pulse. With the new year comes New Year's resolutions. This year, I'm trying to spend more time in nature. How about you, Molly?
I really want to get in touch with my fitness journey, but it's so hard.
Well, lucky for you, Elena Class is going to give us the rundown on all the opportunities Sacred Heart University provides for students to stay fit during the semester. Here's Elena with news you can use.
Thanks, Victor. That's right. Sacred Heart University provides so many ways for students to stay active during the semester. From fitness classes to personal training to rock wall climbing, here are all the ways you can stay fit on campus. Starting off with daily fitness classes, Sacred Heart offers a variety of classes held in the Valentine Health and Recreational Center, including spin, bar fusion, Pilates, yoga, boot camp, Zumba, Big Red Fitness, Body Sculpt, HIIT, and their newest class, CrossFit, which is held in the Berg Gym every Wednesday at 4 p.m., followed by a group support session. All classes are free and open to all full-time students. Need help starting your fitness journey? Well, Sacred Heart provides personal training from certified trainers in the rec center every week. Stay tuned until the end to learn how to sign up. And if you're interested in more fun ways to stay active, Sacred Heart offers pickleball, rock wall climbing, golf simulators, and bowling, which are all open every week for walk-ins or online registration. Need a moment to de-stress from the semester? Well, Sacred Heart provides Zen meditation every morning, noon, and evening on Wednesdays at Linda's with Venerable Shimbo. Check out Sacred Heart's campus ministry website for more details. And of course, the rec center is open Mondays through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. and Saturdays and Sundays from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. for you to freely exercise on your own time. For more information or to sign up for any of these fitness activities, check your student email from Rec Center Director Liz McGreevy or visit SHU's website under Sacred Heart Life for more details and registration. For news you can use, I'm Elena Cletus. Back to you.
Students in Sacred Heart's graduate program in film and television arts recently had the opportunity to plunge into the vibrant world of independent cinema. They took a trip to the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah, and Victoria Montori has the story.
On January 24th, a group of students in the Film and Television Master's Program here at Sacred Heart University headed west to Park City, Utah to attend the largest independent film festival in America, the Sundance Film Festival. It was more than I could have imagined. I was just happy being there and being in a space where I was with filmmakers and I was with people who loved film as much as I did.
That it was filled with people who love film more than anything, and when a joke comes out, it gets a good laugh. When there's a tender moment, you can hear people sniffling and, wiping away the tears. And you don't get that at like your regular run-of-the-mill type theater. This was special.
One of the reasons we went to Sundance originally in 2020 was to expand the environment for our students, let them meet new people. It's a great networking environment.
When they volunteer, they do things like some of them work maybe on the red carpet, or some of them act as ushers, and then they get to sort of stay in the films, and so they're really embedded in the experience of the festival.
The volunteers were students. They were film students that were coming from all over the country to do exactly what we were doing, is to just get that experience and meet other filmmakers. And I did make some contacts, and I'm hoping that we all just discussed that we're going to be on each other's movies one day, and I think that's going to happen.
I had a great opportunity to network with a few peer-aged filmmakers from all over. Exchanged basic things like Instagram things for the LLC, or, oh, I'm from, Connecticut, great, look us up at Sacred Heart University, it's the film program if you need anything.
Going into this, you feel kind of overwhelmed as like a new filmmaker with no experience, that you're not going to do, or you're going to see something that's so much bigger than what you can ever achieve.
There are these amazing films that got chosen out of thousands and thousands of films to be part of the festival. And so the students get to see great work, but they also get to see that work isn't that far out of reach.
The second night that I was there, we watched this horror movie called Babadook. And when I watched that, I was so incredibly impressed by the detail and the nuances of the film. And we had the opportunity to have a talk with the director after. I was happy and surprised that it was a woman, and it was just such an inspiring moment for me, because I've never heard of women making horror movies, and that's kind of what I want to do with my life.
It becomes this small community of filmmakers and festival goers who really, everyone talks with each other about the films they saw and talks about their experiences, and the filmmakers are right in the mix of all this. So it's a really unusual atmosphere. Everybody's in this kind of relatively small, concentrated space, sharing a shared passion for film.
It's the most selective, it's very hard to get into. But when you see the films, you realize that those people are just using the same tools that we are here at Sacred Heart, and anyone can make a film to get in the festival. I was able to get in years ago, so if I can get in, you can get in.
It's all very attainable. It's all within reach. The people in the theater look like us. The people that made these films would come out and they speak just like us, and they all took a plane to get there, and they all ate at the same restaurants on Main Street. It's not reserved for the few, it's for everybody.
Students in Sacred Heart programs are on a roll, taking advantage of the many opportunities provided on campus. SHU's Theater Arts program has a brand new production you won't want to miss. Brad Hutchison has a story.
Son, living my blues, I could learn how if you would teach me the tools. I know I'm strange.
The Theater Arts program at Sacred Heart is back yet again with another musical that is going up in the Little Theater on main campus. This time, it's Bat Boy the Musical. Bat Boy is a show comprised of 14 SHU students, and is all led by their director, Justin Zenchuk. As the students approach opening night on February 8th, the cast members have been working rigorously to make sure that the final product is ready for the big night. Senior Nikki Duca gave some insight into the show, what the audience members should expect, and why he's enjoyed the process.
Hi, my name is Nikki Duca, and I play Sheriff Reynolds. Bat Boy is about a boy who's half human, half bad, and this family takes him in, which outrages the entire town. There's a bunch of underlying plot twists, secrets, and all of this other stuff that happens throughout the show, but you'll have to come see it to find out what happens. I enjoy playing my character because usually I don't play characters that are the mediators of the show. The sheriff tends to act as the mediator throughout the entire show, so it's very interesting and helpful for me to bend as an individual and an actor to play someone who is different than the roles that I've normally played in the past.
Bat Boy aims to bring the audience into a very over-the-top comic world, but it also explores some very serious themes, primarily those of hypocrisy, acceptance, revenge, and scapegoating. Senior Sam Eaton serves as the assistant director for this production, and he has had a wonderful time working under Justin and guiding his cast in ways he hasn't before.
It's actually been fantastic. Working with Justin, he's made an environment where we could express ourselves and help the students much more than I had before being in this part. It's showing the growth of the kids and just your friends working on stage is so beneficial to help them, and it's very rewarding. It seems to me that Bat Boy in itself is a difficult show, but then once you look at it and you see how much fun these people are having, you can't help but smile, so it's great.
Tickets for the show can be found in person at the Edgerton Center box office weekdays from 12 to 4 p.m. or on their website. The show will be running for 2 weekends beginning February 8th. Reporting live from Fairfield, Connecticut, this is Brad Hutchison.
After the break, get a rundown of everything happening in Sacred Heart sports.
And meet the Connecticut Puppies, who played in one of the biggest sports events of the year.
Welcome back to The Pulse. It is a historical season for Sacred Heart's women's basketball team. Nick Ferrari has the story of why this season is so important and the special guests who attended a significant game.
January 27th, 2024 was a historical day in Sacred Heart University's history. What may seem like just another game day for the Sacred Heart women's basketball team was much more to others. What makes this season for the women so special is that exactly 50 years ago, the women's basketball program at Sacred Heart was initiated. This current team is exactly the 50th team in the program's history. The program was not originally as supported as it is now. According to an article written by Gabrielle Lucavero and published by NBC Connecticut, the original team, which was made up of only 6 players, had to wash their own jerseys, would get kicked off the court for men's club basketball, and would even pick up random students in the hallway to sit on the bench in case of foul trouble. The original team was made up of Kathy Flynn, Pam Sturba Black, Karen Solaka, Julia Vicades Sullivan, Lori Jones-Gibbs, and Regina Wright Trimboli, with Lori, Regina, and Karen all returning to campus on the historic day. Lori Jones-Gibbs and Jean Trimboli were even interviewed at halftime. Lori described her return to SHU as aesthetically beautiful for how much the campus had evolved. More importantly, Lori is extraordinarily proud of how much women's sports has grown at SHU. Regina also discussed her sense of pride in the feeling that she and her teammates trailblazed a great program at Sacred Heart. The former pioneers of the original women's basketball team that were able to attend came to center court and were celebrated while also reminiscing on the time they spent here at SHU. Even the original head coach, Mickey Stranton, who brought the team together, was celebrated after sadly passing away in 2018. John Stranton, the late coach's husband, came to center court to accept the honor on her behalf. Before the second half of the tight game, there was some halftime entertainment with the half-court shot, as well as a race between two fans to hit a layup, free throw, three-pointer, and a half-court shot all in under a minute. The current SHU women's team made sure to celebrate the special occasion by pulling off a strong 68-51 victory against Fairleigh Dickinson University, behind Akira Pryor's 18 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, and 6 steals, as well as 23 points from Amelia Wood in only 27 minutes while shooting 75% from the field. There was also great off-the-court support from the dance team, band, cheer team, and of course Big Red. The girls trailed by a slim margin following the end of the first, but rallied back in the second and third quarters to take a commanding lead and coast into a comfortable win. Overall, there was a great turnout by the fans, consisting of family and friends of the players and coaching staff, as well as professors and students just trying to show some Sacred Heart pride. What a fitting way to end the day, celebrating the pioneers of the pioneers. Reporting for The Pulse and from Fairfield, Connecticut, this is Nick Ferrari.
The women's basketball team is definitely having an impressive season this year.
They have been absolutely killing it on the court. But what about some of Sacred Heart's other teams?
Well, let's find out. McKenna Wright has a rundown on SHU sports. McKenna?
Thanks, Victor. The new year has been a busy one for our Sacred Heart athletes, especially as a few of our teams are nearing their postseason. Our men's ice hockey team found themselves back inside that winner's circle after sweeping AIC, which was their first conference sweep since their series against Robert Morris back on November 25th. As of February 8th, the Pioneers trial the RIT Tigers for first place by 2 points, but a flawless weekend against Air Force on February 9th and 10th would send the Pioneers back to the top of that Atlantic hockey leaderboard. So we'll be sure to have our eyes on those results. From the ice to the turf, our men's lacrosse team took the field for the first time on Sunday, February 4th, kick-starting their second season in the MAC. Unfortunately, the Pios came up short to Stony Brook as the Seawolves outscored the Pioneers 11-4 in the second half. No surprise here, our women's basketball team stays atop of the NEC with an 8-1 conference record as of February 8th. The ladies have won their 2 home games this month by an average score of 22.5 points and will once again look to defend their home court this Saturday, February 17th against the 6th-placed Seahawks. And next semester, the Pioneers will have a brand new court as they head into their new conference, the MAC, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Nothing beats spring sports here on campus. Be sure to get out and show your Pio pride this semester. Back to you guys.
Thanks, McKenna. There's a lot to look forward to in SHU sports this semester, but we can't forget about the professional sports world.
You're absolutely right, Molly. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl, but for some, the more important bowl was played by athletes you may not know by name. Senior producer Isabella Fabo has a story of 3 Connecticut athletes who made it to the big screen yesterday.
For many of us, the Puppy Bowl is a spectacle of cute dogs with all the intensity of the Super Bowl. But for shelters like Lucky Dog Refuge, it is an opportunity to showcase their efforts in rescuing animals who need it the most.
So last year was our first year being involved in the Puppy Bowl. We had been trying to get involved for a number of years. Our social media manager, Anastasia, was constantly making that effort of reaching out to the Puppy Bowl referee on Instagram, and she was tagging him in everything, and she got his attention. You know, we took another chance this year and said, you know, maybe if we submit another, they'll bring us back, and they brought us back with 3 dogs, which was so exciting.
Participating in the Puppy Bowl isn't just a chance for these shelters to see their dogs on national TV, but it gives them the publicity that can give their animals a chance at a forever home.
The Puppy Bowl is just tremendous exposure for any rescue. It's nationwide. It's the biggest day of the year in the United States when everybody's around the TV for the Puppy Bowl, for the Super Bowl, and then they gather around for the Puppy Bowl. And I know a lot of people who the Puppy Bowl is now even a bigger thing for them than the Super Bowl. You know, the Super Bowl is just something they watch after the Puppy Bowl. They do such a great job at the Puppy Bowl and Animal Planet of really advocating for rescue dogs. And because they could just, you know, have purebreds in the bowl and playing, and it'd be just as cute, but they really advocate for rescue. The kind of exposure is just something you dream of.
Despite being a fairly new organization, Lucky Dog Refuge has made incredible strides in saving and adopting out rescue dogs.
So we started Lucky Dog Refuge in March of 2020. It happened to be the week that the country went into lockdown for the pandemic. So it was an interesting time to start a rescue. We dealt with a lot of challenges, but our community really rallied around us and helped us get through that difficult time. I think we adopted out about 200 dogs that first year. It was incredible. I think we were at rates of, you know, there were some months where we adopted out 50 dogs. We had challenges keeping even the rescue full enough for the demand that was out there. We have adopted out about 850 since June 2020.
Lucky Dog Refuge rescues dogs within their community and even from other states, including their 3 puppy bulldogs.
All 3 of them are from Mississippi. Betty and Inez are sisters. And then Rebecca, our third dog, she's also from Mississippi. We found her with a pretty serious leg injury. The medical cases are very expensive and they're really hard to find rescue for. And those are the cases we really focus on. Those are the ones we're passionate about.
Because of the kinds of cases and number of dogs the rescue brings in, they heavily rely on financial donations and volunteers. But they also urge people to do one more thing.
For everybody, whether it's local across the country, the most important thing is adopt, don't shop. There are just so many dogs in need.
She is showcasing her athleticism out there.
Puppy Bowl 20 once again delivered a feel-good competition that highlighted the importance of rescues. And humans weren't the only ones who tuned in. This has been Isabel Fabo reporting for The Pulse, Stamford, Connecticut.
Lucky Dog Refuge is always looking for volunteers and donations. If you're interested in helping some adorable rescue dogs, you can follow them on Instagram or go to the website luckydogrefuge.com. This is a great opportunity for the SHU community to give back. The shelter is a 5-minute walk from the Stamford train station and they happily accept group volunteers.
First out for fluff. Angelic in nature and pure as snow. Make no mistake, she was born ready for the big show. Here comes Inez. Out next, her baby face and smile just might fool you. Luring you in with those big eyes, she'll proceed to school. Introducing Betty. Out next, she's sure to leave this crowd wanting more after she pirouettes and sidesteps into the score. Meet Rebecca.
Well, that's all we have for you today.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune into our next episode of The Pulse. I'm Molly Bruton.
And I'm Victor DiPiero. We'll see you next time on The Pulse.